Hi, this is Ike from Groovy Entertainment. Today we got another book on record to play for you. Today's book is Bible Stories, Old Testament for 1954. So let's get started.
This is Wonderland, a magic place where books can talk. My name is Mary Ann, and together we are going to read stories about people in the Bible. Open your book, and you'll see that the title is Bible Stories, Old Testament, by Mary Alice Jones, illustrated by Elizabeth Webb. When you hear this sound, turn the page. Are you ready? Did you turn the page? Good. Let's begin. Joseph goes on an errand. Joseph had 10 big brothers and 1 little brother. Joseph's father had many sheep. His sons helped him take care of them. When there was grass and water near their father's tents, Joseph went with his big brothers to feed and water the sheep. But sometimes the sheep had to be taken far from home to find enough food. These long trips took many days, and only the big brothers went along. Joseph wanted to go, but he knew he must wait until his father told him he was big enough. One morning his father called Joseph. "Your brothers have been gone a long time. They are feeding the flocks near Shechem. You are big enough now and you know how to get to Shechem. Go and find your brothers and see how they are getting along." Joseph was glad his father thought he was big enough to go on an errand by himself. "Yes, father, I will start right away." So Joseph started toward Shechem. He walked and walked. It was hot. He grew tired. Finally, he came to Shechem, but he could not find his brothers. A man saw the boy wandering about the fields. "Whom are you looking for?" he asked. "I'm looking for my brothers who are feeding our father's flocks, but I cannot find them." "I know where they are," the man told Joseph. "They left here a few days ago. I heard them say, 'Let us go to Dothan.'" The man showed Joseph the way to Dothan, and on Joseph went. By and by he came to Dothan. The man was right. Joseph saw his brothers, and he saw the sheep eating grass on the hillside. As he ran forward to meet them, Joseph was feeling proud of having done the errand his father had asked him to do. Miriam and her baby brother. There was once a wicked king. He did not like some of the people in his country, so he passed a law to hurt them. The law said that whenever a baby boy was born to them, the baby should be taken away. In one family, there was a girl whose name was Miriam who had a baby brother. "Oh, mother, we must think of a way to hide our baby," Miriam said. Miriam and her mother thought and thought. "We will make a little cradle boat, snug and tight so the water can't get in," the mother said. "Then we will wrap the baby in a blanket and put the little cradle boat in the tall grass at the edge of the river." Quickly, Miriam and her mother carried out their plan. Miriam said, "I will hide here on the riverbank to watch the baby." Then Miriam heard voices. Peeping out from the tall grass, she saw the princess, the daughter of the wicked king. The princess had seen the cradle boat. "What is that?" she asked one of the girls with her. "Go and bring it to me." While Miriam trembled, the girl brought the little cradle boat from the river. The princess moved the blanket and saw the baby cuddled inside. "What a dear baby," the princess said. Her face grew sad as she remembered the wicked law. "Some mother is trying to hide her baby," she whispered. The princess spoke again. "I will adopt this baby myself. No one will dare take him away when I say he is the son of the princess." Miriam ran out from the high grasses. She had a plan. "The princess is too young to take care of a baby," she began politely. "I know a good nurse." The princess smiled. "Bring the good nurse to me," she said. "Now turn the record over and we'll go on with the story." Miriam ran home. She told her mother all that had happened, and the mother hurried to the princess. "I have found this baby near the river's edge," the princess explained. "I am going to adopt him as my own and name him Moses. But I need a good nurse. Will you take care of the baby for me?" So the baby's own mother took care of him, and Moses grew and was safe and happy. Ruth and Naomi. Ruth was a stranger in the town of Bethlehem. She had come from her own country to take care of her mother-in-law Naomi, who was old. Ruth loved her very much. Ruth and Naomi were poor. They had no money to buy food. Early one morning, Ruth went to the fields where the young men and women of Bethlehem were gathering the ripe grain. "Please," she said to the man in charge, "may I gather the fallen grain in the fields?" The man had heard that Ruth had come to Bethlehem to take care of Naomi, so he spoke kindly to her. "Yes, you may glean. Watch the other girls and do as they do." Ruth began to gather the grain. All morning she worked without resting even for a moment. About noon, Boaz, the owner of the field, came. "Stop working now and then," he told her, "and drink the water which the young men have drawn. And when mealtime comes, eat with the others." "You are very kind to me," Ruth answered. Boaz spoke again. "I have heard all that you have done for your mother-in-law, Naomi. May God help you and comfort you." When the day's work was done, she hurried home. "See," she called to Naomi, "see the good grain I worked for." Then she brought out her surprise. "And see, I saved some of the good lunch they gave me." So Ruth and Naomi had food for supper that night, and every night, because Boaz had told Ruth that she could glean in his field every day. David and the Sheep. David was a shepherd. He took care of his father's sheep. Many boys would have been lonely, for the sheep were kept far from the town. Many times David stayed all night in the hills with only the sheep for company. David was not lonely. The sunrise, sunset, clouds, brooks, and the stars at night made him feel close to God. Often he made up poems about the things he saw around him. He had a little harp and he played happy tunes. Sometimes he made tunes for the poems and sang them as songs of praise to God. David's job was to take care of the sheep. He looked for grass for his flock. He found pools of water where it was safe for his sheep to drink. When the sun was hot, he led them to shady places to rest. One night, David was making soft music on his little harp. The sheep were fast asleep. Suddenly, David saw a shadow move. It was not the shadow of a restless sheep, nor the shadow of a tree moved by the night breeze. It was the shadow of a lion moving toward a little lamb. David laid his harp on a rock and swiftly moved toward the lamb. The lion was very near, but David was nearer. He lifted the lamb into the shelter of his arms. Then he reached for a large piece of rock and turned toward the lion. The great beast seemed to know that David was not afraid of him. He knew that David was not going to let him get near any of his sheep. As the rock came flying toward him, the lion gave a roar and dashed away into the night. The sheep woke up and ran about frightened. They heard David's voice speaking to them. It was the voice they trusted. As the sheep became quiet, David put the little lamb back in the flock, picked up his harp, and began playing soft tunes. The sheep felt safe. They knew their shepherd was taking care of them. Soon they were all asleep again.
So that was Bible Stories, Old Testaments for 1954. So if you like, subscribe, share, and comment, and have a groovy day. Our next book will be Little Boy Blue and Other Nursery Rhymes.